Good evening, and welcome to another Think About It Thursday. My name is Henry Dotson, and I am the founder of Our Journeys of Faith Life Coaching. So I'm glad to see you here this evening. It's another Thursday here in the neighborhood, here in Pasadena, California, and I'm just glad to be here. And before we get too far into it, I just wanted to take a little bit of time to give a shout out to my wife, Vanessa, because last week was her birthday. And this week, we actually celebrated it by going out to dinner with just a few friends. Maybe we had 28 friends that showed up at a restaurant. And the big surprise was that her sister and our niece from New Jersey surprised her and showed up at the event. So Vanessa has said that's the best birthday that she's ever had. And I can understand why. There's a lot of love in the family, and Vanessa hadn't seen them in person for over a year, partly due to COVID and other things that have been going on, but it really made her day. So I just wanted to take a little time and give a shout out to Vanessa and say, I love you, and I'm glad you enjoyed your birthday celebration. We all did. And that's just one of those little things in life that we should learn to appreciate. So, having said that, we'll get back to what we typically do here. And so today have our Think About It Thursday. And what we have to think about this Thursday is think about your cancer journey up to this point. Do you have a better understanding in hindsight? What lessons have you learned? So, for those who have not been with us, or they haven't been with us over the past few weeks, we've been talking about the cancer journey of faith and the different steps along the way. And at this point, we are at a place in the journey where what we call the darkest part of the journey has been passed, the point where either the things will go turn towards the better and your health will be restored, or they will not. And we have taken the path for the time being where your health is on the way to being restored. So the cancer patient is on the road to recovery. And during that road to recovery, we've talked about a couple of things already about the fact that the road to recovery doesn't mean that everything turns out nice and easy, but there will be setbacks. And those things will occur even as you continue to regain your strength and health. And we talked about being in community with others during this time to help to minister to your needs. And we've talked about a few other things, but now we're at the point where we're getting closer to where our health is really being restored, and it's time to look back at what we've been through up to this point. And so that's where we are in the journey. And as usual, we come to this from our Monday mindset, which kind of sets the tone for the week. So our Monday mindset said that get understanding from your cancer journey. So this is where you're at a point in the journey where you're not so much concerned about whether or not you're going to survive. You're really more starting to, you want to kind of look forward to where you're going and what it's going to be like. But before you do, you're best served if you get some understanding about where you've been before you start to move forward into what's going to be coming next. So the Monday mindset is to get understanding from your cancer journey. And so as your health continues to improve, it's important to gain understanding about how God is using your cancer journey for his purpose. And this is done through looking back and retrospection. And looking back is about viewing things from a different point of view. And when you're dealing with your cancer journey, we talk about being in the valley, and those are the low points. And now you're sort of past the valley, but you haven't really returned to where you were before or where you're going to wind up. But you do have a different perspective. So you're going to have a different point of view. And I guess the saying that people say is that you can't see the forest for the trees when you're amongst the trees. So looking back is being at a point where you are not amongst the trees, but your elevation is high enough that you can see the forest. And what that does for you is that gives you an opportunity to kind of see where you've been in context. You can see, oh, well, I remember when I was at that point, and now from where my vantage point, I can see how that fits into the grand scheme of things in terms of what my journey has been up to this point. So this is where you're really getting a better understanding of how the pieces fit together, because oftentimes when you're in the midst of it, you really can't see that. You don't understand how one part connects to the other. But when you have this perspective that you have now, looking back in hindsight, you can start to see how these pieces come together. So this is an important part that you want to do as you are on this road to recovery, is to start thinking about and looking at how things really were put together now that you have this different perspective. The other part of it is retrospection. And retrospection is different than looking back in hindsight. Looking back in hindsight, as I said before, is more about seeing the forest instead of being amongst the trees. What retrospection is about is it's more about the lessons learned from the journey that you've taken so far. So this is where you can start to see what God was doing in your life, and how that fits into what His plan is for your life. And you start to learn some things about God, about your faith, about yourself. And you want to make sure that you get this understanding, because with this understanding will come the wisdom that you'll need as you move forward. And you'll be able to sort of look at the things that you were doing before and decide what things you were doing before will help you moving forward, and the things that you probably need to leave behind because they're no longer going to be helpful where you're going. So it's important as you are moving on this road to recovery that when you get to this stage, that you start getting an understanding of your cancer journey. So that's where we wanted you to have that mindset on Monday. And as usual, on Tuesday, we have our Tip Tuesday, where we talk about a quote that we use that we'd like you to think about. And the quote that we had for this Tuesday is from Ravi Zacharias. He's a pastor with, he has his own ministry, a worldwide, world-renowned ministry. And this is a quote from him. And he says that one often sees a call only in retrospect. This too is God's design. God often reinforces our faith after we trust Him, not before. So, what he's trying to say here in the context of our cancer journey is that there's a call on your life that God has, that you is being forged as you go through your cancer journey. And you can only see that in retrospect. As you look back on what has happened, you start to see that through the suffering that you've gone through, God is revealing to you what part of the call on your life is when you start to move forward. And Pastor Zacharias is saying that you often can only see that in retrospect, but understand that this is part of God's design. This is how He helps you to see where it is that He wants you to go. And He often reinforces our faith after we've put that trust in Him, and we can look in retrospect and see what He's done because we've put our trust in Him in those difficult times. So that's the the Tip Tuesday quote. And then, of course, we like to always back that up with scripture. So, our scripture for the week, and I think that there may have been a little problem on the website, or I mean, on the social media platforms. It may not have got the right scripture, but we'll correct it here. And that is, this is Ephesians 1:18 and 19. And it says, I ask that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, so that you may know the hope of his calling, the riches of his glorious inheritance to the saints, and then the surpassing greatness of his power to us who believe. These are in accordance with the workings of his mighty strength. So this scripture is talking about being enlightened um, in your heart when you look back on what's been going on through your cancer journey, and you will know the hope of his calling. Again, this is about the calling on your life that you will see if you take the time to do some retrospect thinking about your journey. So again, that brings us back to um, our Think About It Thursday question, which is, think about your cancer journey up to this point. Do you have a better understanding in hindsight? Basically saying, do you have a better understanding when you're looking back from a different perspective? And also, what lessons have you learned? And this is the retrospect part, because these are going to be important things that you need to carry forward as you move closer to returning to your life that you were familiar with before. You won't come back to the exact same place, but you're getting closer to that. So this is the time in the journey where you should start thinking about those things. So with that, I want to take a little bit of time to talk about what's coming up. We have a workshop, a one-day workshop that's coming up, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, and that is going to be our cancer journey transformation workshop. And this is where we'll start to introduce you to the cancer journey transformation framework, which is I've done study, and based on my experience and the research and the training that I've gotten to understand that there is a transformation framework that you can use to transform your cancer journey into a purposeful cancer journey of faith. And so this workshop is for cancer patients, those people who are Christians that are dealing with cancer, their caregivers, and any member of their support team, which is typically family or friends that have decided to come alongside the cancer patient and the caregiver during this cancer journey that they're on. So we're inviting anyone who's interested in participating in this to really seriously think about being part of our workshop. And if you want more information about that, you can go to the website, and there's a link there on the menu bar that says workshop, and you'll get some details there. But we really want you to seriously consider it, because if you are going through a cancer journey, or you know someone in your circle of friends or family or loved ones who's going through a cancer journey, or is a caregiver for someone who's going through a cancer journey, this workshop, I know, will be of great benefit to them. It will help those who have who've placed their trust in God, as to how they can navigate through this very difficult time in the life. And again, turn it from something that's just confusing and frightening, and you just don't know what's going on. You may not know where God is in all of this, that we will introduce this transformation framework and the essential pieces that will help you to convert that or transform your cancer journey into a purposeful cancer journey of faith. So I hope that you've gotten something out of this Thursday, Think About It Thursday, that it's been a blessing to you. It's certainly been a blessing to me to be able to share it with you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week on our next Think About It Thursday. So until then, take care and God bless.